Today we're going to talk about reading. I know that I'm a parent, and a lot of us parents are doing a whole lot more reading and participating in the teaching of reading skills to our young readers and struggling readers. So today what we're going to discuss is what do we do when we're reading with our child and they get to a sound that they don't know. Of course, we don't want to point it out and make them feel bad potentially, but we also don't really want to skip over it because we are trying to work with them to become a better reader. So when they get to a sound and they don't know it, what are we supposed to do? That's a question that we've been getting frequently from parents, and even sometimes something that teachers wonder too. Should we always correct students when they come to a sound that they don't know or they misidentify a sound? Should we always jump in and correct it? What should we do when we're reading with our young readers? That's what we're going to talk about today. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Nina Parrish, a K-12 licensed special education teacher with a master's degree in school counseling. I'm the owner of Parrish Learning Zone, a tutoring and test prep service where we bring together best practices from education and psychology to help students become more successful in school. So, today let's talk about reading. You're reading a book with your child or your student, if you're a teacher that's joining us today, and they get to a sound and they don't seem to know the sound. And what do we do at that point? Well, first of all, it's helpful to consider why you're doing the reading. Sometimes, as a parent, we're reading with our child for fun and for enjoyment. And that's the whole purpose. It's not specifically a learning activity. And in that case, sometimes it is okay to not address every single error or time that a child misspeaks, or if they're looking at the pictures and making up a story. Sometimes there's value in that enjoyment of reading. But when we're doing an activity specifically as a learning activity to work on a student's reading, we want to have a strategy to use when they get to a sound that they don't know. So here is what you can do. First of all, if they say they're reading along and everything's going well, and then they get to a sound, and let's say that it's the letter P, they don't seem to be able to remember the sound that the letter P makes. And so they pause at the word that starts with P. And a lot of times what we want to do is we just want to jump right in and we want to rescue them by telling them the sound that the letter P makes. And I'm going to suggest that you don't do that right away. And it's going to be really hard when you first try this. But instead, what I want you to try to do is to ask a question. So we're going to pause there. We're going to ask a question like this. What sound does the letter P make? Or what does P say? And then, here's the really hard part, we're going to wait. And you're going to try to wait for around a minute, which studies have shown that teachers tend to jump right in once they've asked a question after waiting only a few seconds. But a lot of times, it's hard for parents too. It's hard for all of us to wait once we've asked a question because we don't want a student to feel bad or our child to feel bad if they don't know the answer. But we do need to give them some time to process what we've asked them and to also process the information and think, what sound does P make? So we're going to ask them a question like, what does P say? And then we're going to wait. And sometimes, if we're new to this, you have to count in your head to make sure that you wait an adequate amount of time. And a lot of times what will happen if we give them a chance to think about it is they'll realize that they know what sound P makes. And they'll look at it for longer and they'll tell you, P, and then you can get them to sound out the word. Sometimes you'll wait and they won't be able to recall what sound P makes or what P says. So what I suggest in that circumstance is I have students, my students make a letter picture keyword dictionary. And I'm going to put a template here in the comments so that you can use this with your child or your students as well. And what it does is it allows our young students or our struggling readers to be able to look up sounds that they're having trouble remembering, and it gives them a way to practice their sounds that they can do on their own, which of course is, what we want them to be able to do. We don't want to provide them with the answers. We want them to have the agency to be able to take responsibility for their own learning. So what they can do is they can flip into their sound dictionary, go to the letter P, and on that page there's going to be the letter P, and there's going to be a keyword and a picture. So for P, it's pan. And so they'll have a picture of a pan, and that allows them to remember that that's the keyword for pan and hear the P sound at the beginning, and will jog their memory. Oh yeah, P says P. And then they can go back to the word that they were trying to sound out, and it gives them a way to be able to figure out how to sound out that word. And of course, as you learn new sounds, you can add those to your picture keyword dictionary. So again, you can check that out, that resource, in the comments, and use that with your child or with your students. And I hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you are looking for information on topics to work with your child or educational topics for teachers, I hope you'll subscribe to our channel and that you'll leave your comments and questions below. Thank you so much for watching.